Hey everybody, it's Mark from West Coast Supercars and Classics here. It is June 21st. It is summer solstice today, so I hope you are all having a wonderful day. I am off right now to go and meet with my friend Ian, who is a really interesting guy. He has a Caterham 7 and a souped up Subi WRX. So let's go see what he's got hiding in his garage and see what he's been fabricating and making. All right, I'll catch you in a few minutes. Hello there. We've arrived at Ian's place now. I'm actually reshooting this because I forgot to turn the microphone on the first time. Anyways, let me turn this around. Here we are. We'll do another fake reintroduction. Hi Ian, how are you? Long time no see.
At least 20 seconds.
Yeah. Okay, this is take what, 8? Yeah.
Four,
no,
four.
I'm kidding. Anyway, here we are at Ian's place. Ian has kindly agreed to show us around his garage. You got a lot of crap in here.
Yeah,
Jeez.
you don't really want to look around the garage.
Okay, I won't. I'll focus on the car. Okay. The Caterham is right there. And this is also another of Ian's babies here, which just got schmucked by somebody on the fender there. That's really tragic. It was a parking? Somebody backed into
me on the street, yeah.
That's
Parked
just
on the side and they backed out of their driveway and into me, I think.
That's just not right. Anyway, so this car is another very interesting car. I've seen this one on the track. Ian's put a lot of, you say it's about a stage 3.5, you call it?
3.5.
Yeah.
Everything's ready for another turbo.
We should probably do a separate video on this car because this is a really interesting car. But Ian also is a ski and snowboarding instructor. He's a rock climber. I think he's a sushi chef. No, I'm just kidding. I'm making shit up now. Okay. Professional beer drinker, did you say? No.
No, I'm trying for that. I'm growing the...
We all are. Well, we're Canadian, right?
Right.
Comes with the territory. I kid you guys. So anyway, yeah, we're going to have a look at what he's been doing with his Caterham. We can't take it out today just because there's a lot of stuff. Ian does almost all of his own work on this car, and consequently there's a lot of stuff going on and we can't take it out for a drive today. So I apologize for that, but I thought it would be really interesting to talk to Ian about what he does with this car, because I think it's an eye-opener for those of you who might be interested in owning cars like this and who like getting their hands on the machinery and changing things and all that kind of stuff. Today is the day where you're going to find out all about that. Good God, we just took the tarp off of this thing. Look at this thing. Now, when I saw this, Ian, I saw you at, which beach was it over there? What do you call that thing? I'm totally drawing a blank. Spanish Banks, basically, wasn't it?
But, a little closer to the city.
A little closer to the city. Jericho. It was Jericho, that's right. I saw this thing on Jericho Beach, and I stopped to take some pictures, because I love taking pictures, and I asked him if I could do this for my Facebook page. But look at this thing. I mean, it is just gorgeous. When you took that tarp off just now, wow. It's gleaming. Oh my goodness. This is just gorgeous. It's like a professional race car. It really looks... That's remarkable. I don't know if you catching all that. Oh yeah, you have the red gauges with the stripes. You put those in, I think you said?
Yeah, those were made by Speed Hut in the States. They'll do custom faces for you for your gauges. Give them a design and they'll build them up at a reasonable price.
Amazing.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about this. Okay, first of all, something very special right there.
But even more special is the real Cosworth sticker, which means it's actually built by Cosworth.
Cosworth Engineering. So can you talk a little bit? Let's just go ahead and talk. I'm sure you can talk at length about this car.
So we want to start with the engine. This
Sure.
is a really weird thing to have in an old Caterham. In fact, any Caterham. As far as I'm aware, in a few years of research, there's only 4 cars with this engine in North America. And probably in the world, because North America is more likely to do this. You have to modify the frame a little bit to fit this in.
Mm-hmm.
The original owner and builder actually emailed Caterham about this idea, and they strongly suggested he don't do that. Because, you know, back then a Caterham had maybe 140 horsepower and a very light engine, and they thought this might tear the car into pieces. This Cosworth is a YBM, not as famous as the BSDs or BDAs or whatever they were and the others, but it is a real Cosworth engine. It's running a hand-picked Pinto block, a 205 block. They'd go into the factory and pick a block that had the best equal bore sizes and positions.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And the 205 block is a wider skirt for the oil sump and thicker walls and things like that to make it a more powerful bottom end for the engine. Then there's Cosworth forged pistons running 11.4 to 1 compression and a steel crank and just the standard connecting rods at this level, but they're a good steel rod.
Mm-hmm.
So this build-up was for really basic Formula Ford engines, Ford Atlantic racing engines, and for basic rallying and rally cross would be this level of engine if you wanted one that lasted more than 80 hours of racing.
Okay. What's your RPM limit on this engine roughly?
It's got Cosworth L2 cams. It makes its best torque around, what was it, 6,700 RPM? I'd have to look that up.
Mm-hmm.
And the most horsepower at 71, so it's really narrow.
About 71 still.
And
so
it red lines around 7,600 if you want to push it.
And that's with... Those are forged connecting rods, I would imagine.
The standard one. But they're a steel rod.
They're steel.
They're pretty beefy when you take a look at them.
Right. Now, one thing about these Caterhams that I've become aware of over the years is the amount of performance that you can get with relatively modest horsepower, right? And that has to do with the extremely light nature of these things, right?
Yes.
So these, you don't need like gobs and gobs of horsepower. In fact, it's probably not even useful at some level with cars like this, I would imagine.
No, you have to be very delicate with how you drive it, not to spin it in a circle and kill yourself. It's tried to kill me a couple of times when I was learning to drive it. So. This makes around 210 horsepower, and because it's a racing engine, racing cams, it's only about 167 foot-pounds of torque. But this is a fast car with an 80 horsepower engine in it. When this was put together in about 91, this was probably the fastest car on the roads in Canada. I mean, it's a sub 4 second to 60, and that was 26 years ago. Ferraris couldn't do that.
No, we were just driving Anthony's car, Tony's car, which has, by the way, an 11 to 1 compression ratio, and it has titanium forged pistons in it, awesome. Which are more expensive than yours.
Yes,
but everything's more expensive, right? That car, when it came out, that's the 355 F1, did 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds, and it did the quarter mile in 12 seconds.
Right.
Top speed, 183 miles an hour.
Okay.
Or 295 kilometers an hour. So
now you compare that today, the Subi over there, stock is a 4.8 to 60. So for 50,000 nowadays, you can do what 200,000 did for you.
Yeah.
Back then.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Now this is about a 3.7 to 60.
This is in its current form. It's about 3.7 to 60 something. That sounds about right.
You can keep the wheels on the ground.
Yeah.
So it's the equivalent of the Subaru having about a 640 horsepower engine.
Right, for power to weight ratio.
This car weighs about 560 kilograms. So 1,200 pounds, and a Subaru weighs 3,700.
Now, in case you don't know what kilograms are, it's about 2.2, is it?
2.24.
2.24 is the conversion. So basically, when he's talking about 500 something kilograms, it translates into nothing. Okay,
Yes.
approximately zero, basically. Okay,
Less than a diesel engine weighs.
All right. These are quite decent sized carbs on here.
Yes, these are rarer Weber. Everyone knows about Weber's side drafts, 45s. These are 48s. These are called a DSOP, not a DSOE. That's a DSOP is a special carb, special for racing. They have no cold choke, no cold running settings on them at all, because that can leak in a race situation. So when you start this car, you have to sit in it with your foot on the gas for 15 minutes or it'll stall on you. Plus it'll suck birds off the sidewalk, and it howls like a banshee when you open it all the way up. That keeps the people out of the way.
Yeah, I don't like loud cars, as you know. I find them offensive, and I would never own a loud car.
Never.
My Daytona's very, very quiet. It's like an electric, you know.
It is.
Yeah,
It is.
very unassuming. Yeah, probably Ian. We went out for a drive together, and I think Ian gets as much attention as I do with this car.
Especially kids love this
Yeah,
car.
this car gets a lot of attention. So if you are into cars that are super interesting, well, look no further. This is probably one of the most interesting things that you can drive on the road. And oh yes, let me look over here. I just want to check your windshield wipers here. Oh wait, there are no windshield wipers here. You don't need them. And this windshield here is small. Okay, that's being polite about it. That's one of the most.
Brooklands after the racetrack in England.
These are really cool. Now this I have to tease Ian about this, because I mean when Ian drives this car on the when you see him driving it on the road on the freeway or whatever, he's wearing goggles, right? Because the wind's right in your face, and yeah. So basically, that's the way they roll with these things. So that's the view out of the windscreen. Well, you're probably looking. Well, no, you're sitting down quite far, aren't you, in the seat? So
I can put my hand flat on the ground when I'm sitting in the car.
that's very low.
It's terrifyingly low.
Do you know what the highest point in this car is from the ground? I'm just curious.
I haven't measured it in this car, but
Yeah.
in the more classic cars with the smaller roll bar, it's 39 inches.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah. Now here's another. You see Anthony's car. Another stat about Anthony's. I know. I just finished cutting the video on Anthony, so that's why I'm full of statistics on the 355. And I got to clear the buffer for tomorrow because I got to think about BMWs next. But Anthony's is 46.1 inches, and it's low. And it's lower than my Daytona. It's got a lower roofline. It's very low.
Yeah.
But this thing is on another level altogether. So what's new about the Caterham? It's on another level altogether in almost all ways. I mean, that's what's so cool about it.
I mean, one way to think about it is it's like a 1950 Formula One car in a way. It's
Yeah.
It's a space frame with a stressed aluminum skin like an old fighter jet, and if you pull the fenders off, it's an open wheel car. You're sitting inside of the wheels.
Yeah.
I ran over my own foot once, forgetting that the wheels stuck out further than the car. That wasn't very pleasant. Broke 2 bones.
Dang.
Yeah. Everyone's done that. Who owns one of these the first few weeks they have it. You try to push it
Just
around.
pushing it around. Yeah, exactly. I'm always worried about doing that. I actually rolled my Daytona out of the garage. Mainly, I'll go this way, but I'll probably cut this to look different. But anyway, I do roll the Daytona out of the garage because it's got side pipes, and I do not want to fire it up in the garage because it's going to spew. It has no catalytic converters either, right? So that's legal, but I don't want to spew all that exhaust in the garage. So I roll it out, but I'm always worried about rolling over my foot. Because you're pushing, like you're extending like that, and the back tire's coming towards you, right? With these cars.
Yeah, you got a big flare on the back. So
I got a big flare on the back, so you got to be careful. Yeah. So if I ever do that, I will never tell you that I did it. Okay, I promise.
I did mine in the middle of an intersection trying to jump start it.
Oh dang, that's bad. Well, see, you were sort of stressed out, right?
I was stressed
Yeah.
out. I had one injury and I was on crutches, so I couldn't move too fast. And then the car went by
You were
me.
on crutches.
Yeah, and then the car went by me with my girlfriend hanging onto the roll bar, water skiing behind it, trying to stop it like Fred Flintstone.
Oh, that's a good story.
So I had to stomp my broken bones back into place with my other foot and then run after the car. So.
All in a day's drive with the Caterham.
Yeah, that's
all right.
the Caterham.
Okay, a lot of people are probably freaking out and going like, "This guy's absolutely nuts," and they're probably not wrong, but nuts in a good way, though.
Yeah.
You know,
Well,
I mean, car nuts. You know.
You've broken enough bones mountain biking, you get used to it.
Okay. So let's just talk about some of the other things that are going on here, briefly, and then maybe we can talk about what you've been working on.
Okay. Well, because it's a race engine and in a car that can pull over a G, it has a dry sump oiling system. So this big silver tank holds all our oil.
Oh, right.
About 6 liters. And then there's a monstrous external oil pump that pumps it around, and there's almost no sump under the engine, which is good because it would actually drag on the ground. So. And then you have a thermostat that helps cool the oil. So most of this fancy piping to keep
oil
my
cooler.
oil cool.
And there's your little radiator. I mean, just to get a perspective of this, here's my hand. Look at the size of that radiator. Seriously, I mean, it's a foot probably-ish, somewhere around that. Yeah. I can almost span with my hand. That's an amazing aspect of this car.
Yeah, I was worried about it keeping cool, but it works fine once I I redesigned the whole cooling system from what was in there. Now it works great.
Jeez, you have done so much re-engineering of this thing. Actually,
everything: suspension, fuel system, cooling system, brakes. Just doing my third brake design for the back end, and hybrid brake pipe and flexi hose, so it's a little safer.
So that's oil cooler, radiator. That's your oil tank.
And then the
dry sump
round
system.
one's my header tank for the coolant for the water.
Oh, okay. That's cool. The one with the red cap right there. Okay.
And the blue hose vents out of the head out of a small hole to help purge the engine.
Oh, okay. So this is actually a coolant hose.
Yeah.
That's a coolant hose. So here's his overflow tank. Basically, he's got a pressure gauge on it. That is very cool. That's beautiful. This thing. So this is basically the filler cap for your coolant system.
Top of a radiator for any normal car.
It's the highest point.
My radiator's below the top of my engine head.
Yeah.
So you have to fake a radiator.
I've got the same thing too.
Oh, and
it's in the Daytona. It's up elsewhere, and you fill it up there and all that. But it doesn't look as pretty as yours. Like, look at all this stuff he's done. This is just incredible.
I filed that for hours to make it look pretty. So.
That's not all. I mean, Ian does so much custom work on this thing. I mean, that's one of the reasons why it's kind of nice just to come out and look at it, because I've never actually seen it in its work environment here. But like, Ian's always posting his accomplishments on Facebook, so I know a few things. Like, for example, these mounts for the side mirrors you machined yourself, and this is the kind of detail that Ian gets into. Look at that stuff. I mean, you can't just go buy that. He's making a lot of this stuff from scratch. It's amazing stuff.
Match the curves, 6 hours of filing.
Yeah, that's a lot of work. Okay, so what else we got here? There's front suspension. Do you want to mention anything? Is there anything noteworthy about the front suspension here?
Well, there's interesting ideas that Colin Chapman, who started Lotus Cars and designed this car in '57, had. This is a little modified from the original, but Colin always tried to make one thing do two jobs to make stuff lighter. So he uses the sway bar as a partial control arm. In my year, they added an extra control arm because that was a little weak under braking. But you can see if you're using both at once, you reduce the weight and you add some redundancy.
Yep.
Some of the interesting things is this is actually a Triumph Spitfire upright that Lotus used. And I think this is off some Italian car. Maybe it's a Ford Italia. Maybe I'm getting things backwards. You can't buy those anymore, of course. But it's basically a double wishbone suspension.
Right, yeah.
And then he used nice coilovers. Nitron make beautiful coilovers. I'm really impressed with their work.
Did you put those in?
Yep, I put those in.
All right. So what are you going to show me here?
This is the front stub axle that used to come with these cars.
Okay.
And you see this little tiny nut was all that held your whole hub and wheels on your car. Now if you want to take a look at that compared to what's on there these days.
Holy smokes, yeah. This one here?
Yep.
Yeah, this looks like a normal kind of hub. That is...
It's probably got about 6 times the strength for shearing off.
Wow.
You know, so that's why I changed those. A lot of cars racing have had their front wheels just disappear. So
Having a wheel fall off would not be good, eh?
No.
No.
No, it's not like you have crash protection in this thing. So.
That's a really good idea. A very good idea. So that's what you were up to.
Yeah. So most of my major upgrades have actually been safety upgrades because they increased strength in a lot of parts in the last 25 years.
Right.
So a whole new back axle, suspension, stub axles.
Can I have a look at the back suspension?
Sure.
So what are we looking at in here, Ian?
This is what they call a DD-on suspension. You have a differential from a Ford Sierra Cosworth, the famous sort of rally car out of England. So it has independent CV joints, they'll swing freely. And they're strapped into hub carriers on these ears. And then you have this big hollow tube down the back that acts in between a live axle and almost an independent system. So it's more like a live axle than independent, but it's a little better than a live axle. And, it's held in place by straight controlling arms, and then there's this big A-shaped frame underneath that hooks up to the middle, and it actually rides inside the frame. This is a lower frame member here, and the wheels are sitting inside the frame.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. It looks like another panhard rod or something, but it's actually the frame.
It's the frame. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought it was too.
Yeah, some of them are now using a Watts linkage, which does more of a panhard rod type idea to it.
I'm looking inside there. Is that a transaxle there as well, or is it just there's a differential there, obviously?
Yeah. No, the transmission's in the normal spot.
Oh, it is. Okay.
It's a limited slip.
All right. So your transmission's just off the engine block.
Yeah. It's
okay.
T9 5-speed.
Oh, I don't know if I can see under here now. Let's see. Oh, wow. Yeah, that is really flat. Look at that. I can see that. So, okay, there's the bottom of the Caterham. And then coming out here, there's your exhaust header and your exhaust pipe coming out here. And exiting on the side of the car in the correct position. But luckily it's placed strategically so it just burns your passenger's leg, not yours, right?
Right, yeah, no, I was very happy with that.
This is actually really far out from the car, your exhaust actually. That's a long way to step out too.
Yeah.
It's an open car and it's also really low, so it probably is not so bad. But you have to with cars like this, you have to really orient people properly if they're going to be getting in and out and all that, right?
Yeah, you have to teach them how to get in and out because there's only a few things you can put body weight on. Everything else will bend or tear. You can't lean on the fenders. They're designed to tear off in a race so you don't cut your tires apart. And the aluminum skin's 1.5 millimeters, so you can't lean on any of the skin.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, I mean, even just driving it, you've got to be aware of what you're doing, and there's not a lot of crash protection. It is a sort of a race car, for sure, but it's not like a modern carbon fiber tub monocoque, formula racing car with breakaway sections and all the stuff that we take for granted now, right? Like, so people can, this is a very small car.
Very small, and the space frame isn't set up to have any real shock absorption, crumple zones, anything like that.
It's just old school.
Old school. Crumple zones are there by accident because there are areas that were weaker because they didn't need to do anything but that.
Well, it is just an absolutely gorgeous car, I have to say.
Oops.
Okay, I hope that wasn't anything important.
No.
Good. What's this guy here? Wait a minute.
That's a heater, believe it or not.
Oh, that's a heater box, is it?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You don't have windows or a roof, at least your knees can get baked.
Well, yeah, you were saying in the cooler days, you get pretty damn cold in this car, don't you, driving around?
Yeah, I was driving it
There's
at 5
cold lines.
degrees, and that's about the limit.
5 degrees, yeah, that's the end of the season. I remember, yeah, because I was checking with you to see if you're going to take it out again. I think because I just wanted to see if there was just a chance to go out one more time, and then it didn't happen. Well, thank you, Ian. I think we've probably covered a lot of this, unless you can think of some other things that we could maybe look at. But thank you so much for letting us see this car, and I think I'm going to take some still shots and everything. But then we'll just hang out and get this thing edited up. It should be fairly straightforward. At some point, I promise you will see this car in action. I don't know when, but it'll happen sometime, right? We'll stick some GoPros on this thing, and you'll probably scare me silly.
Oh, you're going to actually get in it with me?
Well, yeah. If I can, I've got to upgrade my life insurance. But yeah, I think if you'll let me, that'd be a lot of fun. Yeah. Okay, folks, I'm going to sign off for now. Hope you enjoyed this. Cheers.
You've got everyone beat.
Shaved 2 seconds off.
Seconds off.
Insane.
Yeah, you've got 2 seconds off. So
Cool.